So you have 1 day left.
I have 1 day left, yeah.
And I have 6 days left.
Yeah. You're ready already? That's 15. That's only because you took a break.
That's right, I took a break.
Yeah. So why don't you tell us about why you took a break?
So I had a baby, Covey, and to be honest, I just didn't think about exercising for a week.
Right?
Yep.
Life got in the way.
Life got in the way. But then I was doing exercise off and on, and just got back into it about 3 weeks after. So that's why I'm finishing on May 1st officially. Is my last day.
Yeah. And I kind of think it's important that we understand that, right? Like when life happens, it's okay to be like, you know, I need to take a break from this for a couple of days. I mean, not give up on it entirely.
Right.
Like, I had a baby, I'm done with all that exercising crap. That's what I was like.
I think one of the biggest things I wanted to talk about was the night, because I do my exercises at night. You told me you do yours at night. What is the motivation at 10 at night when you're exhausted?
Yeah.
Like,
it's a good question.
I think that's the hardest part.
Yeah. I mean, throughout the whole process, I've been like, oh, dude, I'm going to start waking up early. I'm going to start doing exercise in the morning because doing it at night sucks.
No, I agree. I agree.
Yeah. I hate mornings more than I hate nights. Like, that's kind of when the day's kind of wrapped up. Like, we have the kids in bed. It's just, like, Shannon and I have spent some time together for a little bit, and then it's like, all right, well, now I need to go do my exercise before I go to bed.
Right.
Sometimes that's like, 10 o'clock, not bad. Sometimes that's like 12 o'clock. Sometimes 1:30.
I've never done it that late. The latest I've done it is about 10:30.
Yeah. Sometimes at 1:30 I'm like, is this really for like the right day? I feel like I'm cheating by doing it the wrong day. No, but
It works.
Yeah.
See, for me, the hardest part, the reason why I ask is because physically, there's never a day you can't do it.
Right.
Like, you can figure it out physically, but it's...
Yeah, mentally. Like,
mentally at 10:30 at night, are you willing to do it?
So in your first video, you talked about, maybe it was your second video, you talked about how like you've been telling people about it and they were like, that's dumb, don't do it that way. It was the one where you did, I want to say hate your haters, so that's not right.
Oh.
It was like doubt your haters,
Yeah.
I think. But
Because they're not doing anything.
Right.
So it's like if you're doing something, you're accomplishing something, but they're saying, oh, you're doing it the wrong way. Well,
right.
Does it really matter?
Yeah, I mean, you're doing it. I mean, I had a different experience. So when I would share it with people, they're like, oh, that's so cool you're doing it. I would never be able to do that. And like, that was the go-to
Which
answer,
is the opposite.
right?
Yeah.
It's not like you're doing it wrong and I'm a professional, I know this. I read like I watched like 5 YouTube videos and they said not to do it this way. No, but their go-to was like, oh, I could never do that. And I think, like, I had that at the beginning, right? Like, when we first started messaging, I was like, dude, that's so awesome you're doing it. And you're like, you should do it too. I was like, I don't know. You have to start with the right motivation, right? Like, I'm gonna do it, you get motivated, you do it, and then when that motivation dies out, it just has to boil into the discipline. Like, I think because I had people cheering me on, like some of my coworkers every day would be like, dude, how's it going? Ask me how everything was going with it. So because I had people cheering me on, I think my motivation went a couple extra weeks.
That's good.
But yeah, there definitely hit a point where I was like, do I really want to do this for 100 days? Like,
that's the aspect that I've thought of as far as the 100 days. I've been able to see the changes because it's been so long. I'm sure you felt it too. Yeah. And as far as that goes, I mean, if we didn't do it for 100 days, we really wouldn't have the same results.
Right. And I think that was big for me. Like, I felt like, 4 weeks in, even a month in, I still wasn't really seeing much as far as the results go. I was still chubby. I mean, I'm still chubby. But, like, I wasn't feeling it. I hit a point where, oddly enough, it was when I was doing sit-ups, and you cross your arms doing sit-ups, and so like I was like poking my pecs, and as I was doing the same, like,
oh,
that's hard. I like that. And so that kind of kept me going. I found
what are the physical changes? Pecs.
Yeah.
But, like, how do you feel?
That's about
Talk
it.
about that.
No, I feel a lot better. I mean, not with the stupid foot. Messed up my foot again, right? I talked about messing up my foot the first time, and then I really messed it up this time. But
did you have any other injuries while you were doing it? Like, abs, back, anything.
You mean besides like them killing every day for the
Right.
first 2 weeks?
Right.
I think the second day I was like limping like crazy. I was like, why are you limping? Like, I hurt. Squats are awful. But other injuries though, I mean, sometimes when I was doing sit-ups, I get like this pinch in my back.
Yeah.
And I remember you talking about it and saying that you switched to crunches.
Yeah.
So for a while I was like, should I switch to crunches? A comfortable way to do it, and kind of like really listening to your body. Being
Right.
like, so like what effect? Like, is this hurting? Is there a reason it's hurting? I did hurt my knee a little bit, but that was just because I've been limping so much on my other foot that I was overcompensating.
Oh,
And
right.
so, but I just threw on a compression sleeve and it was fine.
I had some back pain for the sit-ups for a while. I changed that for like 3 days and it went away. Which through 100 a day, it's gonna wear on your body eventually.
Yeah.
And so it's just, can your body manage the load?
Exactly. And understanding like when I'm doing like the reps, like I don't know, I like once a week I challenge myself to do as many sit-ups as I could before I had to like stop. And so
Yeah.
on those days, like pushing it and being like after I hit my max that day, you know, let's say I got like 75, which was like my high. That wasn't a normal thing. But like I'd hit 75 and then the next time I'd be able to do it and it would start to hurt.
And
I'd
be
be
like 20.
yeah. Now I'm gonna do sets of 5 for the rest of the time.
Yeah,
And
I
I'm
tried
like,
to do that too, to like,
Uh-huh.
to build up on each one. I think the most push-ups I ever did in a row was 40 to 45. I can't
Yeah.
remember the exact amount.
That's boss. I'm
But-
at like 34. 34 was my top.
But then after that, the next day, depending on how much you do or how hard you push, the next day you're maybe
You're right.
lower.
Yeah. And the next day you're taking a little bit easier on that one. What one did you think was the easiest?
Squats for me
Yeah.
was by far the easiest.
Oh yeah.
I added weights to the squats, but that was kind of where I was strongest anyway, so not necessarily the focus of my challenge. That was more just to keep my legs fit.
Right.
Push-ups was definitely the hardest.
Yeah.
The sit-ups took the longest.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the balance between the three. Sit-ups took the longest, squats were the easiest for me, but I put more weight on, and then the push-ups were the hardest. I've never been great at doing a ton of push-ups,
Yeah.
but
I feel like it took me a while to figure out the form of push-ups, right? Like at first I'm like spread eagle, like,
yeah.
you know, getting as far as I can, and then like realizing like pulling it in, like getting it under my chest instead of under my face. Like going back a little bit, we talked about like body changes, and you talked to me recently about how much weight you lost.
Yeah. I attribute that more to my diet.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I want to talk about, because we did the same exercise, right?
Yeah.
And I started at 205 and ended at, I weighed myself this morning at 203. And so my weight change was like 2 pounds, right?
Right.
And I'll admit I ate a lot yesterday before I weighed myself this morning, so it might be a little
It
on the high end.
fluctuates.
Yeah, but
Somewhere between like 2 and 4 pounds probably.
yeah. So I mean, I've been pretty consistent at 200 for a while, and then so I put myself around 200, so like a total of 5 pounds lost.
Right.
Where you, how much was yours again?
So I fluctuate, right? Yesterday I weighed myself, so I started at 204.2 on my scale. And yesterday I was 192.
Yeah.
So about 12. But the lowest I've seen the scale was similar. I fluctuated a little bit. It was about 191.
Yeah.
So almost 15 pounds, a little under 191.
Yeah. And so I wanted to talk about that with the diet, right? Because I was in a meeting the other morning and we were talking about like exercising and stuff, just like on one of the off parts of the meeting. And I was like, I know I've been doing 100 of push-ups every day, but I'm pretty sure I have a six-pack under there somewhere. But I have all this I got to burn through before I can find it, right?
You have muscle there.
Yeah. But because I haven't been as strict with my diet as you have, you know, I still eat burgers and onion rings and crap that I
Right.
shouldn't eat. Sometimes when I'm having a rough day, I'll go get a milkshake.
Well, I think,
But-
yeah, that's something I guess maybe we talk about. My wife could testify to this, that I kind of ate what I wanted at nights.
Mhm.
Really, the only thing I changed is I was very consistent with my breakfast and lunch.
Yeah.
And I made sure I had protein, and I made sure I had fruits, and not a lot of fatty things. So for breakfast, I'd have 2 eggs and a piece of toast, just because I knew that was enough to get me through the morning without overloading, and I had a little bit of protein.
Mhm.
And then for the afternoon, I'd always have nuts and fruit and a protein bar.
Yeah.
And it was just like consistent every day. I knew how many calories I was getting. And was it boring? Not really. To me, it wasn't that boring.
I mean, there's always ways to like
Yeah.
spice it up, right?
Like you can change it up. But
Yeah.
for me, it was more about just, I get those 2 meals done. I don't even think about it because I'm at work. And I just kind of like plug and chug, just like, well, you just do it.
Yeah.
And then in the evening, whatever we had, I'd have that. I'd have chocolate. Like, I didn't kill myself.
Right.
But it was the consistency that got me down quick.
Yeah, and that's where mine was. So we talked about this a few minutes before we started, but I was buying a lot of fruit to start to take for lunches, and then my daughters were eating a lot of fruit because it was available, and which I mean is a good thing. They're eating healthier, right? But I feel like a lot of it was just planning on my part. Like some days I'd wake up and be getting ready for work and go to grab some fruit, like we're out. I guess I will grab
donuts.
Yeah. The only thing in the town that I work at, the only kind of thing I can do if I forget my lunch is at a gas station. Right. I'm eating gas station food some days, which is not good for diet, right? I think that's my problem is, so I have this thing for my students for their birthday, I give them a root beer. And so I always have a stock of root beer in my classroom.
Right.
And a lot of times I'm out of it by the time the student's birthday hit because I'm like, yeah, their birthday's coming, but I really want this right now, right? And a lot of it's that discipline, right? I mean, I feel like I got disciplined with the working out, but as far as the diet, I never hit that discipline where I can be like, yeah, no soda.
That's the difficult part. You can go extreme like we did with the exercise and say it's very regimented. You can do the same thing with your diet, or you can kind of do what I did and find a middle ground. I don't know what's best, but just whatever. I knew it was working, and so that was the motivation.
Yeah, and I think that's the important part, right? Is it's not so much like what people recommend; it's what you will actually do. For me, it was good that we it was the baptism by fire, right? Like just the first day, I was like, all right, we're doing all 100 tonight. But for me, that worked because that's the only way I was going to get myself to consistently do it. I've done it plenty of times where I'm like, I'm going to start working out, and I'll ease myself into it, and I'll go run like 2 miles for like 2 nights and then be like, yeah, I did really good.
So here's something to think about.
Yeah.
Have you ever exercised that much ever in your life?
No. I mean, there was a while where I was running consistently, because I was training for a race that I really wanted to do, and because I had that end goal, I knew that's what I needed to do. So I was running 3 to 4 times a week.
Right.
But as far as like every day and never missing and never finding an excuse to not do it, this is definitely the most I've done.
Yeah, even for me, it was the longest, most consistent, because usually I would have days off. Mm-hmm. It's not the most intense exercise by far that I've done.
Yeah.
And I'm definitely not in the best shape I've ever been in. In fact, I'd say I'm still not in great shape. I'm in okay shape now. I'm kind of like...
You're in better shape than this.
Yes. No, I'm just kidding. Now, what I want to do is I want to figure out what's next. Mm-hmm. So, what are you going to do? Because you finish tomorrow, so then after that, what?
It's a good question. Some nights when I'm doing it, I'm like, I'm so done. When this is done, I'm going to take like a
100-day break.
Year break. Yeah.
100 days off. 100 days off. But yeah, the beauty to our exercises is you don't need anything. Right. And that's why I picked those 3. Because literally you don't need anything. I have some dumbbells and things I've been using at my house just because I have them.
Yeah. And I use my kids, right?
And I use my little boys sometimes. But the thing is, worst case scenario, you do them. You don't need anything. It can be any time of day.
Right.
And that's why there's no excuse.
Yeah, some of these times when I was doing it, it'd be like I would finish my lunch early and be like, I have like 15 minutes, I can go pump out like 15 push-ups or 15 sit-ups, you know? Right. And then go pump out a little bit during that lunchtime so that I don't have to spend so much time at night. Like the military swears by that, right? Like they have ways for you to exercise, but like their main go-to exercises are all the calisthenics.
Sit-ups.
Yeah, because of the ease of it, right? Because there's nothing extra that you need. You can do it at any point.
This is my debate, my dilemma. Mm-hmm. My thought is, do I try and do something new and just keep kind of doing this? Do I build on this? Or do I do something completely different?
Right. Start doing 1,000 push-ups.
1,000. Oh my gosh.
You gotta crank
Even
it up,
200
man.
Would be insane.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
So here's my thoughts. These are 3 things that I've always wanted to do. Mm-hmm. So I've always wanted to be able to dunk a basketball.
All right.
So that is something that's high on my list potentially. Mm-hmm. I've thought about running, so I've ran 5Ks before, and I hate cardio. But I think that's where I'm most deficient, so I think that would be a good place to start. So maybe run my fastest 5K time or do it in like 21 minutes, which would be like a 7-minute mile. Yeah. Which I've run 7-minute miles before, but never over that distance. Yeah. So something like that, which that one would probably take me a long time because I'm not in shape at all. Yeah, as far as cardio. Yeah. The muscular side I could probably do more and get it quicker.
Mhm.
But as far as cardio, I just don't do it
Yeah.
enough. Third thing would be pull-ups,
Mhm.
which I've always been awful at pull-ups too.
Right.
Whereas push-up, squats stuff I've been
Yeah.
okay at, but those are two that I'm awful at. But the one that I'm kind of leaning most towards is dunking, because
Yeah.
that's exciting to me.
So
It's the motivation factor.
yeah.
Because I'm not really motivated to do push-ups, or excuse me, pull-ups.
Yeah.
But
But you're
it would probably
motivated
be, but it would be good for me
Yeah.
to do pull-ups.
Yeah.
I wasn't really motivated to do 100 push-ups and sit-ups and squats
But you got
after
that,
2 weeks.
Right? Butt exercises, right?
A lot of
Your
jumping.
glutes.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that'd be good. So I like what you're thinking though, like figuring out what is my end goal, like what is the thing I want to accomplish,
Mhm.
and then what exercises do I need to do to get to that.
Right.
I love that thinking. Like, I'm kind of like the opposite of you, right? I love the cardio. Before I jacked up my foot, like cardio was my go-to.
Yeah.
And my like once I can get this boot off and I can actually start running again, I want to work up to doing a half marathon.
Mm.
And I think that would be really fun. I mean, the farthest I've run, I ran a 10K, but I've run further than that. I think the longest consistently I've run right now is 10 miles. I live in a really hilly area, so
Yeah.
that's a really sucky 10 miles, right? You're talking about a 7-minute mile. I'm like uphill, so I'm like 10-minute miles.
15 minutes.
15-minute miles.
Walking up the hill.
Just, but no, I'd really love to run a half marathon. And so, but for me right now, it's not really something I can work towards,
Right,
right?
'cause you're stuck.
Because of the injury, which is frustrating. Which was really good. A really good thing for me that this came along, the push-ups and sit-ups and squats, because it was something to get me still being healthy, even when I was like, I can't go do my run. Yeah.
Right. The YouTube.
The YouTube as a whole, the program is gonna vote.
Maybe I'll put it up and people can vote.
Yeah. And I think an important part of this too is, like for this one is a consistency, right? Like the goal was to have it all done like each day for 100 days. So with these ones, we have to set a goal of like, I'm going to be able to do 25 sit-ups or 25 pull-ups. Gosh, I'm going to do 25 pull-ups by this date. I mean, because if I didn't set an end date, it could be really easy. Like I got to do my push-ups every day and go do like my one pull-up. Go do my one pull-up and be like, did it. Like I have to have it to where I'm doing 25 by this day. I mean, like I gotta bust it like right now.
Right.
Goals are good, but they're not successful unless you have an end date. Right?
I'm really excited to see my before and after shots, because you hadn't done that. That wasn't really your goal.
And I wouldn't look up. Well, I've lost like inches on my waistline, like my belts I can fit tighter. But as far as like my gut, like my before and after picture, like why did you just take 2 pictures that same day? Like,
I bet you could tell more of a difference than you thought.
I don't know, maybe.
Muscularly.
Yeah, just the pecs. Like,
Just the pecs.
Everything else just kind of flaps over, but the pecs, no.
See, because it's interesting to me because ironically my biggest changes will be diet that
Mhm.
you'll see, but the muscular tone you notice, even in my
Yeah.
pictures that I've taken before, you notice a difference.
Yeah. My goal was 10 pounds, and I didn't make that. But I felt good with what I did, right? I mean, I also think part of goals is like looking at what's happening and adjusting, right? And I realized like I'm not really losing weight, but I feel like it's that I'm gaining muscle faster than I'm losing the weight.
Right.
I realized like, yeah, okay, it's probably okay that I'm still around 200.
Right.
I mean, I could still stand to lose some weight, but I feel like I'm a lot healthier now than I was then.
See, ironically for me, I would love to be 190 to 200, somewhere in that range,
Yeah.
but lean and
Yeah,
fit.
like a solid 190,
Exactly.
solid 200.
Right. Like I wouldn't mind being 200, but just a different physique.
Right. Yeah. So when I was just focusing on losing weight, I mean, which I've been doing for the last few years, I found myself. I want to say I was like 225, and I set a goal in January. I was like, I'm gonna be under 200 by the end of the year, and if I do that, I'm gonna go on a trip with my wife, right? And so that was too long of a window. Like, I didn't do anything till October, and I was like, well, I better start running. And so in October, I started running, started moving with it, and I made it. Like, I was at 199 that day, like New Year's Day the next year, 199. I was like, I'm under 200, we're going on this trip, baby. And like this time I was like, yeah, I'm not really losing weight, but I still feel like I'm getting better. Like, so instead of focusing so much on losing weight, maybe I should just focus on
Getting it done.
Yeah.
See, and I never set the goal of losing weight either because that was my main objective.
Mhm.
It's like, you will be healthier if you do this. Okay. But we are so obsessed with weight sometimes
Yeah.
that we don't focus on the bigger picture.
Right, we can get super obsessed with weight. We can, I mean, you get into like the whole eating disorder side of things, right? And understanding that eating disorders isn't just a female thing anymore. And a lot of that can be because of our obsession with weight. And sometimes, that you slip into the unhealthy practice of like, well, I'm trying to bring in less calories per day, so maybe I'll just start skipping a meal here or there. And then, of course that can snowball into something more serious. But the obsession with weight's not okay. And so I like that it was more of a, we're being healthier, right? Tomorrow I finish, yes. And it feels nice. Some days I'm like, yeah, I'm not gonna do it again after I'm done, but I will. And I think it's gonna come down to like sitting down when I'm finished and kind of doing an after-action review like they do in the military. Right?
Mental side of it.
Yeah. So going back to, I believe it was your third video, right?
I think so.
The first video where I showed up.
Right.
With my beautiful beard. And so as much as I wanted this to be like, this is the effect of exercise on my mental health, at some point I realized like, I need more help than just the exercise.
Right.
But the exercise has helped. I mean, as far as just being able to feel like, look, you accomplished something. I mean, because a huge part of me for my depression is like, what are you even doing with your life, right?